Hello, 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 and how are you? I hope you had a blessed week on this past week. My week was good. There were a few days that I was down because of the rain and the weather, and there were some days that I really couldn't get around like I wanted to. But God is still good. I am still here. I am alive. I got a phone call from my mom last week, and she was telling me about Ayana Van Zant. And she gives me a call and she says, Roz, you need to get this book. Ayana Van Zant wrote a book about her life. It's on Amazon. And so I went to Amazon and I looked up the book. This book is called Peace from Broken Pieces. And I haven't been able to order the book yet, but I am going to order this book because it talks about her life. And it got me to thinking about a lesson that I had done at a Ladies' Day program in East Texas. And this lesson was called Living the Life You Were Created to Live. And at the beginning of this lesson, I actually talked about the abuse that I encountered in my childhood. And so this book actually talks about the abuse that Ayana encountered in her childhood and how she made it through. After my video, when I talked about the abuse in my childhood, I got a few calls. So some ladies were telling me that they were abused in their childhood. And they asked me how I'm making it through. There were some that wanted to know why I would tell this personal information about myself. And then there were some that said, I am so glad that you told people because you never know what someone else is going through. So I got a mixture of calls after that video, but this lesson, my mom gave me permission, both of my parents gave me permission to give this lesson or to say things that happened in my childhood about in this lesson that I did in East Texas. So this was like in 2017 or so. So I started out with a skit telling what happened in my childhood. And then after that skit, I went to 1 Kings 19, chapter 19, verses 3 through 4. And I'm going to read those for you. I'll read that scripture. Yeah, those scriptures for you. So Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. He came to Beersheba in Judea. He left his servants there while he himself went a day's journey unto the wilderness. He came to a broom bush, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. I've had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors. So we see that Elijah, the mighty man of God, wanted to quit. He wanted to give up. He was tired. He was fed up. He was discouraged. He was also depressed and burned out. He thinks he cannot make it. He thinks that he cannot go on. He cannot take another step. He does not want to fight this battle or proclaim another word from the Lord. Elijah, of all people, wanted to throw in the stick and quit. So have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like, you know what, I've been through so much in my life that I'm done. I've had enough. I want to throw in the stick. I want to quit. I want to give up. Now, I've told you before in one of my videos that I did not want to commit suicide, but I did pray for the Lord to take my life. That's how down I was. I was just like, Lord, just take my life. I am done. This is in my teenage years. But I believe that everyone has felt like Elijah at some point, wanting to give up, wanting to run away. Have you ever felt like Elijah? We are running and running, and it may be from our childhood. We may be running from family members. We may be running from dealing with the addiction, mental illness, or running from a controlling, cheating, or abusive husband. Maybe we're running from grief, not being able to get past a loss of a child, a loss of someone that was close to you or someone that you loved. Or maybe we're running from our past, not being able to see that God has a plan for you no matter what you are going through. But we are still running, looking back, falling down, crawling to safety. Have you ever seen a scary movie? In the scary movies, they're always running and then they fall. They fall down. I'm like, oh, girl, get up, get up. You can do this. So sometimes we're starring in our own scary movie. Sometimes we're running from ourselves. Have y'all seen that scary movie, Us? Where they're basically running from themselves. They're fighting themselves. Sometimes we can be like that. We can be fighting against our own self. We can be fighting against our own demons. Sometimes we just have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves and move on. God is there for us. This reminds me of a story that I heard. Y'all know my husband's a minister, and so they come up with all kind of stories. They always have stories to tell in their lessons. But this one was about a little girl and her porcelain doll. So this little girl had a porcelain doll that she just loved so much, and she was playing with this doll in the driveway one day, and her dad was going to go to the store. So he told her, hey, I'm going to go to the store. Do you want to go? And she said no. So she got up and went in the house, but she forgot her doll in the driveway. So her dad ran over the doll as he was backing out of the driveway, and he heard something. He picked up the doll. He was like, oh my goodness, this is her favorite doll. So he takes the doll in the house and he tries to put the doll back together. He's got glue here and glue there. And this doll, I tell you, it was a hot mess. But he wanted to fix the doll for his daughter because he knew that this was her favorite doll. So he takes the doll to her, and this doll is all broken and cracked. And she grabs the doll and says, oh, I've been looking for this doll. And her dad said, I'll buy you another one. I can get you another doll. And she says, no, I love this doll. And he says, well, this doll is all cracked and it's broken. And she said, no, this is my favorite doll. I love this doll. And she hugs and she kisses the doll. And her dad is wondering, why does she want this broken doll? Well, that's kind of like how God sees us. We're broken, we're cracked, we're just a hot mess, but he still loves us. He loves us, and he just wants to hold us. He wants to kiss us. He wants us to come to him. He wants us to come back to his fold, even when we feel like we are not worthy. He can heal us. He can give us the grace and the mercy we need to make it through another day. I'm going to leave you with a few scriptures you can meditate on this week. Our first slide, it says, your present circumstances don't determine where you can go. They merely determine where you start. Sisters, we cannot let our circumstances dictate who we are created to be. In Isaiah 43:2, it says, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burnt. The flame will not set you ablaze. Ladies, God is coaching us through those storms. He knew what we were going to go through before we were even born. But he is just molding you, and he's making you stronger to be a vessel for him. If you're going to be in the Lord's army, you cannot be weak. He doesn't need any weak soldiers. He needs strong soldiers. Here's another scripture, Philippians 4:8. This is the NIV. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about these such things. So basically what it's saying is that all the negative thoughts, we need to sweep those negative thoughts and push those negative thoughts out of our minds, and we need to think on things that are praiseworthy, things that are positive. So I hope I have said something to encourage you to keep moving this week. I hope I've said something to encourage you to endure your trials and your tribulations, your storms, and all the decisions that you need to make, all the things that you're going through, or maybe a family member is going through. Be there for that person. Help them through this as well. Have a blessed week, and may God bless you and keep you. Hallelujah. He chose me.